Hey, welcome everybody to another Muskrat adventure. It is Tuesday night, and I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. It's been an interesting week. Uh, Kicking out Saturday night with the Golden Whiskers Award. Hey, I want to tell everybody I thank you very much for that for that award. Being nominated was cool enough, and then winning the YouTube Catfishing Bow of the Year. Well, I mean, I'm mind blown. When you got 50, 60, $70,000 boats out there, and my little 1983 Sylvan apparently is a crowd favorite, and that's pretty humbling. So I wanted to say thank you personally to everybody that was able to make that possible, and then also Palmetto, Kevin. I was blown away. I mean, I knew that the thing was a cool idea, and I thought it was, going to be pretty neat. But at the level he took it to, I was hats off, brother. That was well done, well done. And I know I think I saw in chat last night some guys were saying that I could have been this or could have done that. Anybody could have done a better job. They should have done it because nobody did it. And but hey. I got Rusty Morefield in the house. Rusty, it looks like you got your mic muted.
Yes, I do.
You're muted.
I muted out. I was listening to you.
Before I get cracking along here, man, we got a lot of people in chat tonight, so I appreciate everyone popping in. Looks like James Dockery. I don't know what time he popped in to beat Brandon, but James Dockery was first in the house. So thank you for being here, brother. Michael Murillo in the house. Ryan, Boris Blue Collar Fishing in the house, fishing with the squirrel. Mike Turner 712, Creole Catfishing. What's up, my Cajun brother? Kentucky Catman. Looks like Jim, you found me. He called me. He's like, "Hey, are you going live? I can't find your stream, man. Something's happening." But he made it in here. Kazi's in here. Skip Stewart, my brother from another mother, in the house. I don't know if Zach made it in yet, but Skip and Zach have been on the fish the last few days. Actually, I got in on the action there. You guys saw me go live Sunday, and I made it back out fishing today, and didn't do too bad. We'll talk about that in a minute. Buckeye Catfishing, Jim, thank you for stopping in. Catfishing Crappie. Mark also did very well in the Golden Whisker Awards, and I think he claimed 3 different awards Saturday night. So hats off to Mark. Well deserved. Very good stuff. Mark's going kicking out there. So if you haven't checked out Catfishing Crappie, and if you're like me and like Rusty and like his dad, we love our Catfishing Crappie. So check them guys out. D's in the house. D, thank you for stopping in. Jason Lamb, Justin's Fishing Fetish. Boy, oh boy, they just keep coming. Mike Irvin, if I didn't catch you earlier, thanks for stopping in. Kentucky Big Cats and Bourbon. I hate to miss anybody, so I'm going to try to get you all. Fishing with the Squirrel. I think I said it, but I like saying your name, so we'll say it again. And boom, I think I caught up. If I missed you, it was not intentional. Sean Abney, I see you popping in there. Oh, man, Papal is in the house. Papal's in the house. Thank you for stopping in. I'm going to shut running my gums, and because my chat locked up on me and I couldn't see who all was left. And Rusty, man, thanks for stopping in. Rusty is well, I'll let you talk. Rusty, where are you from?
I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois. I actually live in St. Louis area on the Illinois side in a town called Swansea.
Okay.
You want me to continue?
No, I'm just messing with you. So where are you?
I was gonna say I like long walks on the beach, fishing.
Long walks on the beach. I'm gonna ask you for your sign.
Yeah.
So what are you fishing for out there in St. Louis area?
Primarily right now I fish for blue cats. I've been following the Twisted Cat Outdoors tournament series. So pretty much anytime I go out right now, I'm focused on learning the rivers, learning patterns, marking fish, fishing those fish, targeting them. And that's what we've primarily been doing. Well, what I've been primarily doing so I can get better at targeting, catching, and following the fish. for tournaments whenever different water temps and everything else. So mainly blue cats.
So when you're gathering your data, are you keeping notes? Is it just mentally? Do you have like a calendar type deal? Because we talk about this at times, of different strategies people use when they start gathering data, how they collect it and keep it.
I don't have photogenic memory, but I've got a pretty decent memory when it comes to stuff that I want to remember.
There you go.
My wife will tell you otherwise, but yeah, I pretty much just basic memory at the moment. I mean, it's I'm doing a lot of recording, and I do have some videos that I record that I keep separate for that has, you know, water temps and depths and obviously my fishing locations, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'd like to think that I can remember all that, and I can't. And I'd like to think that I would start taking notes and writing all down, but I don't. So what I do is I go back and I look at my pictures and dates and times. I also go back and you know, these YouTube videos really help out a whole lot. I catch myself going back and watching my own videos a lot more than I thought I would originally. Just trying to get, you know, hey man, this time last year, where was we at and what was we doing and was it working? And so what kind of so here we are going into winter. Of course, some people would say it's already winter, but I think we're just heading into winter. So what are you going to change? What's your tactics look like as you change out there? Because I know what they look like here, but
so right now, over the last 6 weeks, I've been shortening my leaders some. I'm still using floats. The fish are going to tell you. I went ahead and put a Kentucky rig on, so now I'm using if you don't know what a Kentucky rig, it's a high-low rig where you got a hook on top, bottom, then obviously your weight on bottom. I threw one of them out. 2 of my fish last weekend came off of the Kentucky rig. Once they start preferring the rigs that are not suspended, you catch more mud on them, then I'm gonna take the floats off, shorten the leaders even further, use more double hook rigs or Kentucky rigs or high-low rigs, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to sit in spots a little bit longer whenever I see a fish, target a fish. I'll sit on them a little bit longer. Maybe I'll just move the baits around. Maybe if you cast it 10 foot from them, they're not as mobile. You move your bait after, 20 minutes, whatever. Sit in one spot a lot longer than I would normally during. Right now, they're still moving. They're pretty mobile. So, 30 minutes in a spot right now. We were catching them within 5 minutes throwing the baits out last weekend. So, if we didn't get a fish in the first 5-10 minutes, we were, already pre-planning the next spot.
I tell you, I fished today with Trevor Long. I think Trevor popped in chat, so thanks, Trevor, for hopping in. But Trevor and I fished today, and that's pretty much what it seemed to be. When we threw the baits out, they were either there or they weren't. 9 times out of 10, if we didn't have a hit within the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we didn't get a hit. It wasn't until we moved and dropped baits again that the time was on. And it seemed to be that first 5 to 10 minutes. Now, some, few locations we hit that first 5-10 minutes was on fire. It was fantastic. But yeah, on average for us, it's still about 30 minutes here. So when you say you're going to go sit a little bit longer, what does that time frame look like? Is that 45 minutes to an hour, or?
I would say 45 minutes to an hour. So basically, the way I see it now, I'm not an expert by any means, but the way I see it is these fish, the colder the water is going to get, they're not going to move as much. They're still going to move some, but they're not going to move as much. They're going to be more well kept in the holes. Right now, the water temp's still around 40 degrees. I think we were pushing between 39 and 40 last weekend. They were still, moving up on the ledges further. They were coming up a little bit higher. As the water drops, it gets colder. You start seeing ice in the water. It's going to push them down even deeper. Instead of being able to catch them in 20 foot, you're going to be catching them in 40, 50 foot, 35, whatever your hole, the holes are. That means that they're all going to be a little more centrally located. Yeah, again, it's just going to be about getting the bait in front of the fish. Might have to move the bait, 3 or 4 times to get it in front of them. Same thing happened Lake Texoma in January during a tournament. The people that caught fish sat in the same spot 3 or 4 hours and fished those 1 or 2 fish they marked. Those are the ones that won the tournaments, caught the big fish. Same concept.
So they basically, they marked the fish. They knew they were there. They were just patient and kept presenting the baits to them different until the
fish moved. Yeah. So, and that goes along with patterning too, because certain time of the day they're going to start moving. They're still going to be somewhat mobile. It just, when are they going to be mobile? That's collecting data. That's just learning more about the fish. And
right.
This year's different. Every winter's different. Last year was a little bit colder by now. This year, we're sitting 50 degrees today, 50 something tomorrow. So
yeah,
it's a lot different weather right now than it was last year. So not every winter is going to be the same. So you're going to have to basically collect data for every type of scenario.
Yeah, today it was crazy. We were out there at the crack of dawn. We were throwing a cast net in the dark, trying to get bait, and we fished all the way up till I had to shut her down to get here. But our bite today, we only caught fish from 10 till 2. We had bait, and our fish today were, covered clear to, their top fin was covered in mud. They were sunk in the mud. Yeah, Trevor said there, 10 to 2 today is the only time we caught fish. It was crazy.
Yeah, our fish I haven't pulled any up with the mud yet.
Really?
Not that's covered in mud. Nope, not yet.
Our water temperature was 43 degrees, so we're still just a little bit warmer than you. But
yeah, they're still moving here.
I got some good video today. They look like a carrot. You pulled them straight out of the ground. They're covered. I've never used that terminology before for a catfish. I was trying to think of something stuck in the ground.
Caught a carrot.
So
that'll be in the next video, right?
Next video. Yeah, it is actually.
Caught a carrot.
I think I got a couple videos I'm still working on right now to get out. And I seen you had a video drop today. Of course, I was on the water today with Trevor, so I didn't get a chance to check it out. And exactly the same here, 10 to 2. Water was 40 degrees at 10 and 42 at 2 p.m. So Buckeye says the same thing. He had caught fish from 10 till 2 today. It's weird.
Yeah, the water's still warming up midday. You'll go out there and it'll be 38 in the morning and it might be 40 by the afternoon or whatever your water temps are.
Right.
Fish are going to be mobile. They're going to be moving a little bit differently than they will whenever it stays consistently 20 degrees or, whatever the weather you end up having for your area.
Right. So what's your bait choice now then? So I'm just basically, most of my questions right now are going to be, winter time, this time of year, bait choice, bait size, and things like that.
So right now I'm primarily using shad. That's the go-to bait for us for the winter, but you can't discount the Asian carp, the silver carp, big head. I prefer the big heads. They're a little bit harder to catch because they're not the ones that jump. Right. I have caught some wintertime catfish off of big head carp. Same thing. You just flay them out. You cut the tails, soak them in their own blood. But you just chunk them up. Small baits, preferably during the winter. Although I've been catching some massive shad, I've been basically cut the head off, cut the gut pocket out, and then start chunking the back up. Mm-hmm. They've been hitting those back pieces. I think I've caught one off of a shad head in the past couple of weeks. Most of them have been off those back pieces.
Yeah. The other day we found the same thing. Zach and I were out fishing, and he had scored some giant shad, and that's exactly what we was doing. Gut pocket out, expose the spine, get that thing bleeding, and then chunk it up. But same deal. I think we caught 15 fish on Sunday, and I think only 1 or 2 on the entire day come off of a head. Everything else was on that midsection.
Yep.
And small chunks. Even today, we started out with bigger baits, and I said, "Hey, we got to downsize and chunk them up small." And Trevor started chunking them up pretty small chunks, and that's when we started getting more action. But Sorry, I'm making notes of that. Hey, real quick, I did have quite a few people pop in after I kicked off the show, and I didn't want to miss anybody. So fishing with Paula Smith. Paula Smith's in the house. Thank you, Paula, for stopping in. Mike Lewis is in the house. Norm's in the house. Finn Seeker TV's in the house. Outdoor Addiction. Trevor, of course, I said was in here. Derek from Ohio. Catfish Chaser, still waiting on an invite. Go fishing. I don't know what's taking you so long, man. Sampy's
Chunky
in the house.
Cats fishing.
P-City. What's that?
Chunky Cats fishing is here
Chunky
too.
Cats, Mr. Elston Perez himself is in the house. Another Golden Whisker Award winner. That's going to be Tim Molina. He says, I'm here. He made it. Maurice Kaysen, Subscriber of the Year Award. It was fun, man. If you didn't get a chance to check out anybody in chat here, you didn't get a chance to check out the Golden Whisker Awards. It was fun. It was cool, and I won't keep talking about it because went down that road already today.
Well, they needed to add one more award called the Nature Boy Award because Chunky would have won that in a heartbeat.
Nature Boy. Woo! Huh? I
love watching his videos.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to love watching his videos. I'm guilty too. So anyway, back to fishing. So I seen you've done a lot of work, man. Trevor Long says free boat ride Ohio River tomorrow. Any takers? Man, Trevor, you turd. You know he knows I got to get my boat out. I got to get it out and see if it was running right. And I just might have an invite in the evening to go out and do some little bit of evening into the night bite tomorrow night. So I think I might take Zach up on that. But anyway, what I was getting at was you've done a lot of work to your boats. And so where are you at on your custom built builds and what's coming up next? And anything that, you've done along the way that has, caught a lot of buzz or questions? Because I can think of one thing. I can think of like 2 or 3 things all of a sudden. The shower curtain.
Oh yeah.
Shower curtains. Your buddy heater hack. I mean, I every time I see you watch your video, you come up with something neat and cool.
Yeah. So redneck ingenuity, Southern engineering, whatever you want to call it.
Country boy can survive.
Pretty much. No, so far, I've got pretty much most of what I want done to my the rusty rig, that Alumacraft that I use. I want to do a little bit with the transom. Some of the bolts on the back of it are leaking through, so I'm getting a little bit of water in. Nothing to worry about. It's just I'd like to freshen it up. I'm actually going to order all the materials. I want to make my own custom enclosure. So I've got a sewing machine. I'm gonna, get the needles out and go to town. I'm gonna make my own enclosure for it. Basically, that boat has, from start to finish, the only thing I did not build on it is the live well, and that was Black Dog Welding out of Carlisle, Illinois.'s the one that built the live well. I installed it, did all the plumbing. My dad and I built the original rod rack for it. I ended up buying a monster rod holder rod rack, and now it's on there. But from gutting it, putting aluminum floors in it, rewiring the whole thing, I would like to change and update a couple things after fishing with Scott Linton. You never realize how much it helps to have a bigger screen until you fish with a guy with a bigger screen. And you can actually see the shadow of that catfish sitting on the side of that screen, and I'm over there doing this on my 7-inch. You don't always need a bigger screen, but it helps.
Yeah, but it helps. Yeah, I fished with Zach, and he's got a Humminbird Helix 12, and it's like sitting at home on my big screen TV. It just blows you away. So instead of a 12-inch screen, I got 2 9-inch screens. So I've got 18-inch screen.
So I would take that. I'm still sitting there with it. I've got an HDS7 carbon I bought Black Friday a year ago when they discontinued them at Academy Sports. And I still catch fish with it. Don't get me wrong. I've been pretty much catching fish every time I've gone out. Actually, I have caught fish every time I've gone out. It's just it'd be nice to be able to see and not, have to take so much time scanning, because I zoom it in a little bit further, so I don't have, if you zoom it out too far, you're not going to be able to see anything. I zoom it in quite a bit, so I'm only scanning 40, 60 foot to the side as opposed to 80 or 100 where I could with a bigger screen.
Right.
I make do. I get her done.
Yep. Yep. Being able to read your electronics and use them properly will makes a huge difference. If you're not able to see your screen, so like today we had an issue where we had the sun directly over our back, and the glare on the screen was just made it to where it almost impossible to make anything out. And so it was a little difficult. But hey, real quick, Jason Mercer popped in, says the Rusty rig is awesome. He is such an awesome guy to fish with. Oh,
nothing but love, Jason.
Nothing but love. No, actually, we've only been able to fish together. Man, I feel like you're a brother and we do this all the time, but we've only fished together, once, maybe twice?
I've been on your boat once when we was throwing for bait. I think that was the only time we actually fished together. We were at the same tournament, but I don't think I got to fish with you. Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah.
50 in chat, 26 thumbs up. Help us. Hey, Chad, thanks about that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, everyone else was back at camp doing their nightcaps or whatever that was going on. And 1 o'clock in the morning, Rusty and I is out there trying to catch bait.
They just started the live music when we took off to go get bait.
Yeah.
Because that guy had his guitar and he's about to get out and start singing.
Yeah.
So
I like your style. So what kind of gear are you using? I know your favorite rods and reels and all that stuff, but usually in chat, hey guys, don't forget, if you got questions for Rusty, he fishes the Mississippi. That's a completely different ball game.
Mississippi and Missouri River mostly.
It's just a whole different beast compared to what we're used to over here. So if you guys got questions for him, Rusty knows his stuff. I got a lot of confidence in you. When I come to the Mississippi, I'm getting on.
I'm a rookie.
No, you're not.
Excuse me.
Hey, there's Mark. Mark just dropped your link for you. Catfishing crappie. So
thank you, Mark.
Rusty's YouTube channel is River Rat Catfishing. I think I put it in the description. I'm not for sure. I'm not real cool with that yet. But so guys, if you guys got questions for Rusty, don't forget to drop them in chat. I'll try to catch them as we go along. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep talking to him because he's my buddy.
You asked about the rigs.
Yeah.
So as far as the rigs go, I've used a lot of different equipment. I like to cast long distance. I like to be able to see a small fish bite and be able to pick up a tree off the bottom of the river if I needed to. The one rod that I found that I have full confidence in, that I have tortured for the last 2 years straight, is the Muddy River Catfishing Blue Cat rod. You see me post it all the time, talk about it in my videos and everything else. It is by far my favorite rod. They're all great rods. Every rod's for different people. The way I fish, I throw 16 and 24-ounce weights sometimes. I have back eddies that have more current than most people fish in the middle of their channel on an outside bend. My back eddies are enough. If I want to fan baits, I'm going to cast a 16 or 24-ounce weight to hold it out to the side. If I want to cover this ledge and I mark fish all the way across the ledge, I need weight. That's the rod I want to throw a 24-ounce weight and know comfortably I can get it out there. At the same time, I can catch a 12-ounce channel cat on it if I wanted to target them, because I can still see the bite. Oops.
I've got Muddy River Blue Cat rods, and I love them. I've been a big cat fever guy. Like I explained before, I went through all the rods at one point or another. On my boat, it's pretty much big cat fever and Muddy River Blue Cat rods. And I honestly think if I had to do it all over again, if I knew about Blue Cat rods when I invested the money, I'd probably just do the Blue Cat rods. I like them that much. The couple inches longer on the grip, helps. The action, like you said, the dependability. They're tough.
Mike Turner asked what river what river I fish. The Missouri and the Mississippi. I actually am in the St. Louis area, so I'm able to fish both of them. I typically fish further south on the Mississippi River, down by St. Genevieve, Chester, and New Madrid, and areas like that, which are pretty heavy current. I have noticed, though, the Missouri River has decent sized back eddies. They've got a decent amount of current in their back eddies, but nowhere near the amount of current in the that the Mississippi River has on the back eddies down by St. Genevieve. I can use a lighter weight on the Missouri River, but that's the two areas that I mostly fish. And I use the same reel you use, the Penn Squall 20LW. That's, to be honest, out of all the reels I've used, there's no maintenance. I lost one of them in the river for a week, sat in the mud for a whole week. I went back. So I formulated a plan. I took a Shakespeare Tiger rod that I've had for 10 years, and it's got braid on it. I took a 6-ounce no roll weight. I cut the tips off a size 10 treble hook, so I had a big treble hook. That way I wouldn't hook into anything, and I casted it out. I had marked on the sonar where this rod dropped. There was no current in the cast gasket at the time, so I marked and had the areas down. And on the third cast, I hooked back into that rod, pulled that reel up, and went fishing with it that day. And I didn't even open it for a year, and it still looked brand new inside. What? I don't know you could do that with another reel. Yeah, especially for the price.
I don't want to, but yeah, that's crazy. I've gotten unfortunate. I have a Penn Fathom too, and I absolutely love it. But it started making this crazy noise, and I took it apart to clean it. It was getting ready for our Alabama trip, and I think it was one of the anti-reverse gears fell out, just broke off inside of there.
In a Fathom?
In a Fathom. Yeah, I got it laying right here.
I'll stick with the Squall. It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. I won this. I won this.
Oh, yeah. You are the man at winning things.
Huh? I was on a really good streak. And
you were on a streak. Yes, you were.
My luck has run out, believe me. But yeah, I don't have a receipt because I won it. So I don't know what Penn. I don't know. I just got to call Penn and find out because I just won it earlier this year. So. Oh
yeah, I would definitely get it worked on.
Yeah. Let's see who else we got. I'm on the Missouri River by Omaha, Nebraska. I use 6 to 10 ounce depending on the time of year and the flow, says Mark Turner. Yeah, I seen Papal Ed says, what the heck is that? A soup can full of lead? And you still
where's that?
20 ounces.
Oh.
Love my Fathom ones. That scares me. P City Smitty, that's maybe completely different. You might be safe with the ones. I've never even heard of anybody having problems with the Fathoms, to completely honest with you. I have 2 Fathoms. I have one that's a line counter, and the second time I took it out, it may have been the first time I took it out, the lens that covers the numbers fell off, gone. I don't even know where it went. I can't glue it back on because it's gone. And so I was like, man, that's crazy. And then now this Fathom pieces fell out of it. I was like, man, I'm sticking to Squalls. I like the Fathoms. They are smoother. I mean, for the money, the Squalls are tanks. I just love them.
Yeah, I've got 9. I think it's 9 Squalls, and never had an issue with any of them. I mean, when you get them out of the package, you need to tighten them up. I forgot to tighten one of them up. It started to come loose, and it was the lever started to come loose on it. But aside from that, that was it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always my Booz 6500s. Today I had 2 out of 3 screws on the side, man. They was almost completely out. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here?
I have no comment.
I'll just leave it at that then. Let's see who else we got. Mike Costello Outdoors is in the house. Let's see. Somebody said Anna. I don't know if Anna showed up, but so who got you? I know the answer to this, but we always ask, who got you started into catfishing or chasing these big cats? and when did this journey start for you?
So for me, it started with my tournament partner, my dad. My dad, I was basically born on a river. Spoon River is where we spent most of our time whenever I was younger. Anybody that knows Central Illinois that fishes anywhere around here, the Spoon River, Lemoyne River, and the Rock River are three of the best flathead fishing rivers there are. But the Spoon River used to have this dam on it. Somebody told me earlier this year that they got it fixed, but it was blown up. But this dam, you basically walk out on this roll. It was an old rollover dam. You walk out on it, and you see these guys out there with about 10 to 12 worms on a big hook.
What happened? What did I do? I was trying to scroll comments, and I think I kicked him out. We'll give him a second to see if he pops back in here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying hanging out with Rusty. Rusty's been a good buddy of mine. He's like a brother, like I said, but we actually haven't spent a whole lot of time in person together. Just like a lot of you folks here in chat, we kind of met online, and we met online and shared the same interest. And there you are.
You booted me.
That was my fault. I kicked you out on accident. I can't remember how to get the comments off the screen. Papo Ed's comment has been on there for a while, so I was trying to remove it, and I removed you instead of the comment. So my bad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, but yeah, basically just that story was led to basically they were using big balls of worms, and these guys were catching huge flathead right there, right off that little dam. And then we would, was this 30 something years ago? I'm not going to really tell my age too much. So 30 or so years ago, I'd be out there in a boat, almost in diapers, watching, running lines and stuff like that with my dad. We'd bank pole and stuff. And then it just progressed from there. And I caught, I don't remember how old I was, but I caught my first fish that was over 40 right before I went to the Marine Corps, actually. Caught my first fish over 40, flathead. And then I went to the Marine Corps for 15 years and only got to fish a handful of times whenever I got to come back. Otherwise, I was in Japan or, some other country or somewhere else. So I fished in Okinawa. I fished, a couple other places, but I never really got to get into it. And then, I retired 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago, and came back out to this area so I can get back into it.
There you go. There you go. If those of you that know Rusty know that his dad is quite the fisherman himself. When it comes to catfish and crappie, Mark, he's the man right there. He's the original catfish and crappie dude. He spends how many months down there in Mississippi?
This year he's limiting because the lake is so low they can't even use the boat ramp. So unfortunately, they had to come back. But anywhere from 5 to 6 months out of the year, he's down south fishing for crappie. He comes back up here, and we fish tournaments the rest of the year.
So right there, man, he's a heck of a guy. Your dad's an awesome fellow. I'm jealous. To be honest with you, you guys are very fortunate to be able to spend the time together that you do. I wish my dad enjoyed fishing and the outdoors like I do, but unfortunately for him, it's that's not the same interest. But it's awesome seeing you guys hang out together and cut up together. You guys you wouldn't even realize you're father and son because you guys just kind of razz on each other and work.
The way we bicker, argue.
Yeah. No, but so we covered that. Covered that right there. So what about family stuff? So I know you got some kids that enjoy fishing too.
I do. So I've got 3 kids. I've got my 21-year-old daughter who made me a grandpa a year and 2 days ago.
How's that roll off the tongue?
Easier the longer it gets.
Okay. Okay. I just
Actually, every time I go to crawl out of bed and I'm hearing cracking and popping, it kind of relates to it. So, but no, I've my 21-year-old. She's not so much into stuff like that. My 13-year-old, she went to the first catfish conference that I went to with me in 2018, 17 or 18, something like that. She went there with me. She's gone to everyone that I've been to since. She used to go fishing with me all the time out there in Arizona. We'd go to Lake Patagonia or Parker Canyon Lake. She's my little mini me, but she's 13 now, so she's in between all of her band and all of her math stuff she does and everything else. So, and then I've got my 4-year-old, my little mini me with the attitude, and he's ready to get after it.
Yeah.
So that's one of my main reasons for that enclosure. That's actually the reason I have that big boat that I own, which I will be working on getting out. My wife and I was just talking about that last weekend. We're going to go ahead and try to get it out on a marina until either we figure out, if it's going to sell or whatnot, but we're going to go ahead and get it out. That way I can take my kids and family out more often.
Why don't you fill me in on what that is? That is a big boat, man. Do you really need both them Yamaha motors on the back? Because I need one bad. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think it takes 2 motors.
12,000 pound boat takes 2 motors.
How many?
So 12,000 pounds.
Woo!
Yeah, she's a big girl. So it's a 2006 Century 3200 walk around. It is a full cabin boat. It's got 2 sleep berthing areas. It's got a full kitchen, stove, microwave, fridge, shower, toilet, heat, AC, everything. The AC system, the ECU doesn't work at the moment. Something to do with the wiring. I gotta correct it. And then they took the generator out before I bought it. So I've got to get another generator put in, but it's got twin 225 Yamahas. It's rated for twin 300s though. So if you want to find somebody with twin 300s, I'll get those, and you can have the 225s.
Let's see. I don't know if I.
And it is a catfishing machine. It's the redneck catfishing Yatchet, and we call it the Yatchet because it's a certified yacht, but it's too classy for us. So that's why she's Ratchet. She's the Yatchet.
Got it. Well, I can't imagine fishing out of that thing, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's comfortable.
Oh,
it's nice.
So when I come down there, I know where I'm staying. Wherever that thing's docked at, I'm just gonna call that home for a minute.
I've slept in that thing quite a few times. It's actually pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures and videos where you guys, pulling it out for the season and whatnot, pictures, and I was like, man, that is a giant boat.
It gets bigger the further you pull it out. It's got a 2-foot draft. So it sits sitting on the trailer is 13 foot 10 inches tall and almost 11 feet wide. So she's pretty big to pull. That's why I bought the dually to pull her.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking for a fantastic, what's the minimum depth you can take that thing in?
It's 2-foot draft, so I would say, a little over 2 foot. It does have a through-hole transducer, so it does your water depth does start at the bottom of the boat if you want to set it at that, so you can get an accurate reading of how far underneath the boat the floor is.
I'm just bullshitting with you. There ain't no way I'm coming over. That boat ain't nowhere near that
Yoda's not pulling it either.
Huh? That
Yoda won't pull it. No.
Might stand it straight up in the air.
Yeah, no.
So if anybody's looking for would you say 12,000 pound?
Yeah, 12,000 pound fishing rig.
And all the catfishing gear you can haul.
Yeah.
Rusty's got the boat for you. Oh, hang on. I just lost it. So the boat you're running now, the Rusty Brig, what motor did you end up putting on it?
So that boat came from the dealer originally with a 115 Mercury, and that's what I'm running. So it's a 93 Lumacraft Phantom V170. It's a bass boat that I converted to a catfish boat, gutted the floor, put the aluminum floor on it, and it's rated actually for a 135. I'd prefer to put a 135 on it, but it's got a 115. It still runs just under 50 mile an hour.
That's fast. That's plenty fast. That's plenty fast. My old girl run about, I don't know, I've never had it empty. My boat is weighs a lot. She's just a big girl. But I put 4 77-pound deep cycle batteries up front to try to offset, kind of sits low in the rear. And so I've got 7 batteries on my boat total. And
7?
7 deep cycle batteries. So even with all 7 batteries and a 40-gallon extreme bait tank and all my fishing gear and a couple buddies, should run about 35. About 35.
You got 7 batteries. I got 4 on my boat. I got 2 for the trolling motor because I only got a 24-volt trolling motor. 2 size 30 or group 31s, a group 27 for the electronics, and a group 24 for my starting. So the way that I set up my boat, I have them all in the back at the moment. I have grounding points throughout my boat, but the grounding points are all relevant to that group 27 battery, and technically the group 24 because you're starting. Your motor is grounded to it. So what I ended up doing is I ran another ground between them two, but the positives are not connected. So if I ever lose my starting battery, all I have to do is move the positive connector, which is closer to the front, just move it over to my group 27 and start my motor and get going.
Huh. That's a great idea. Pretty good idea. I know I see people saying like, why in the world do you have 7 batteries? And somebody said you need lithium. I looked into lithium, but I couldn't justify the cost. I would basically a lithium battery would have to last me 8 to 10 years in order to offset the cost. And I just don't think there's enough data out there to make me feel comfortable
to justify.
Yeah. So I'm running Duracell AGM. AGM batteries.
We added a battery to my dad's boat. Our Solix 12 on his boat was actually draining his starting battery, and then he had 4 batteries set up. He had 3 for the 36-volt trolling motor and 1 for the engine, because he doesn't have a whole lot of electronics on there. That was more than enough. Well, the Solix actually drained down that battery, the starting battery, to where it kept cutting off. So what I ended up doing, if you go onto Amazon, there's a 35 amp hour kayak battery that will run a Solix 12 for 2 days straight, almost 2 days straight, which is huge for one of them. It's a kayak battery though. It's $65, 35 amp hour. And we ran it. Yep. We had it charged up before Lake of the Ozarks tournament. We fished a few hours Friday, probably 4 or 5 hours Saturday, and the entire tournament Sunday, and it started dying as we were going back Sunday. And that was without putting it on charge because we didn't think about charging it. So
yeah, wow, that's awesome to know. Do you remember the name of it, or it just?
It's Max something.
Mighty Max.
I don't remember.
I remember seeing that. I did a lot of shopping around for batteries before I ended up purchasing the ones I went with. But
if you type in, go to Amazon, type in kayak 35 amp hour or kayak battery 35 amp hour, it was at one time the only one that they had on there. Most of them are 12 or smaller amp hours, but that battery is perfect to run at least one big unit like that.
Wow, that's impressive, especially for a kayak battery. It's not taking up much space. If you guys hadn't checked out, Keith Fishing and Stuff just put out a couple cool. Well, he always puts out cool videos. But he used ammo cans, and he used a kayak battery to make a power box. So he put it in the just one of those Harbor Freight plastic cans, and mounted the USB port and then the amperage and all that stuff, mounted it all of that, and you can it has a little carrying handle and everything, just slick as a whistle. It's pretty cool. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, his new videos is really good.
Catfishing Dreams just posted. It's the Mighty Max 35 amp hour for $63 on Amazon. Thank you.
There you go. I'm not sure. I don't see it on here yet, but oh, there it is. Mighty Max 35 amp. Yeah. So that's there's a lot of kayakers in here, believe it or not. So you may have just saved somebody's day. Yeah, somebody's talking about the lithium ion batteries. North Sea 15 amp hour lithium battery cells, 15 amp hour for $150. Yeah, I've got to have 100 amp hour or better. I've got a 36 volt system, so I got 3 batteries just running my trolling motor. I got 1 battery just designated to my graphs, because right now I've got 2 Garmin 93 SVs, and I got a Humminbird up front, and I'm getting ready to mount the Lowrance on the back. So I got a battery just running right now, 3 graphs. Then I got a starting battery, and then I got an accessory battery for all the lights. So like night fishing, I've got a lot of LED lights on the boat, and then an extra battery, if I have it in the boat, is for the extreme bait tank, which until now, the bait tank's pretty much in there every trip.
Need to put that big girl on a diet.
Huh?
Need to put that big girl on a diet.
Yeah, me too. If I went on a diet, it'd be even less weight in there. By the time I get in there and pack a cooler for about 4 days worth of fishing for 6 hours, she didn't want to go nowhere.
That's a lot of weight, man.
Yeah. Skip says mine will do about 36 hammer down. Usually just yes. Skip's got a tracker, and he's got the Mercury 115 on it, and it runs, like he said, he'll go 36 miles an hour, but like most of us, well, maybe some of us, I get mine up on plane, and then I back it off a little bit to save on fuel. Some guys, they want to hammer down the whole time.
Mine knows 2 positions.
Huh?
Mine knows 2 positions. Idle and full throttle.
Yeah.
That old 2-stroke likes to idle, and it doesn't like to idle, but she'll idle, and she knows full throttle.
That's it, huh?
Actually, now that I changed the prop out, I can run 40, a little over 40, at about 3/4 throttle, a little over 4,000 RPMs now. So I've been running a little bit slower lately.
Yeah. Buckeye says my pontoon is lightning fast at 15 miles an hour.
It'll get her done.
Hey, I think you got a Honda on there, don't you, Jim? I don't care. That Honda is going to get you there at 15 miles an hour every single time. My motor, last few trips is, I think it's a power pack. I'm pretty sure it's power pack. I'm trying to talk my wife into going out tomorrow and running around. She's tired. She started a new job this weekend, so I'm not sure if I'm going to talk her into going out tomorrow or not, but I'm going to go out tomorrow one way or another. Oh, it's a Suzuki 60 horse. I'm sorry, Jim. For some reason, I thought it was a Honda. Suzuki is just as good. I think if I had to pick all the motors together, it would probably go in that order: Honda, then Suzuki.
So I seen a couple comments or people were saying that they don't need to go that fast. I don't necessarily need to go that fast. The higher cruising speed helps out. On the Mississippi River, there's not many boat ramps, and there's not many places that we could put in. And a lot of times of the year, like right now, the water's so low, there's only a handful of boat ramps. If I've got 9 hours worth of fishing in daylight, some boat ramps actually close at a certain time. I want to be able to get there at a fast speed. Columbia Bottoms is a popular boat ramp a lot of people fish out of, and it's open from 6 in the morning until half hour after dark. So you have that exact amount of time. It takes 15 minutes or so just to get around the place, just to get to the boat ramp. And then you're talking about loading, getting your stuff ready, and everything else. So you're cut down a lot on how much time you can fish. So that faster speed does help out a lot with how much time you have running between spots. If you're fishing an area that's overfished, heavily fished like that area is, you want to run up to the next area. You know, you're going to need a little bit of speed. I don't need to go 100 mile an hour, but if I can cruise at 40 and get good fuel mileage at three-quarter throttle, or if I hammer down at least to get to the first spot and run 50 mile an hour, I prefer to do that so I can go ahead and get out there and start fishing. But it's a lot of it's time restraints.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much me. If my bait's not in the water, I want to hurry up and get wherever I'm going, because that's a missed opportunity until them baits drop. So I'll go. Well, like I said, I'll just like you. I'll crank her up, get her on plane, get her going good, and then back her off about three-quarter throttle. And I usually settle in around 30, 32 mile an hour. Is about typically where I cruise at, which is fine for me. You know, that old Johnson, she sucks the fuel. It's got a 30-gallon fuel cell in it, and if you don't pay attention, you'll run her dry. I've never ran out yet. Nope, I've never ran out in that boat yet.
I don't know too many people want to tow that boat either.
No. Nah, it tows all right. It cut through the waves. You ain't nose back here.
Yeah.
Huh?
All 10,000 pounds of it.
Kazi, I see Kazi post some of these on Facebook. He has a Minn Kota alternator that hooks to the starting battery, and it disperses 10 amp hour for each lead when the motor's running to keep them batteries charged. It said it took his boat from 7 batteries down to 4 batteries. So I seen him post those on Facebook when he did, and I actually needed to look into it just a little bit further, because I'm not sure on mine. I have some issues with the electronics on mine as far as kicking out juice, so I'm not sure if I'm getting any charge out of my motor right now. But I'll have to look into that. It says my 90 Yamaha drinks some gas too. I think they all do if you keep them floored. It's the same with my vehicle. My truck will just Toyota's Tundras aren't very good on fuel no matter what. But I've been known to give it to good juice when it's time to go, and she lets me know, because I just got to go fuel station even sooner. But so you guys are what tournaments are you guys looking at next, or is it pretty much winding down for you guys?
So my tournament partners right now are incapacitated. Dad's down in Louisiana. Paul Bird is waiting on one more person from clearance. You may or may not see some videos coming out real soon with Mr. Bird back on the boat with me. So stay tuned for that. Those are going to be a little harder to edit with the conversations on that boat.
That's why you guys don't go live, ain't it?
Absolutely. We go live so we can take a break from just to get a little PG rated, kind of, you know.
Trying to, I get you. Try to get your souls back for a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's our time to repent for a little bit.
Yeah, I love Paul, man. He cracks me up. I talked to him the other night for a while. He's had a rough road, man, but he's a tough dude, and I don't know if he's more tough or more stubborn. Either way, they're both good in his situation. So
I would say a little leaning on the stubborn side.
Stubborn? Yeah. I was kind of feeling that way myself.
Oh yeah, Paul's my brother. So but yeah, I gotta wait for them. I will fish tournaments with other people, don't get me wrong. I don't know, Twist Cat Outdoors, I'm waiting for those to open back up. Should be March whenever we start with them. I know there's other tournaments. Lake Texoma I fished last year or this year. Next January, I don't think I'm gonna fish it. I think I'm just going to work on patterning fish and just YouTube content and stuff like that. So I think I'm just gonna relax. We fished a lot of tournaments every like 2 weeks or so whenever we were fishing over the summer, because COVID pushed a lot of the tournaments and everything back. So it's a nice break right now, just being able to fish for fun and not so much worry about have to, catch a certain size or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I'd like to do some more tournaments. Of course, my boat issues and whatnot got to get straightened around before I can consider that. I'm not so much like the hardcore tournament guy, but I love the atmosphere. I like hanging out with the guys. Hanging out in the parking lot. I actually find it pretty funny. Some of these guys get pretty hardcore and secretive and huddle around the back of their truck and talk about this and that. But I have a good time with the tournaments, just hanging out with like-minded people that want to catch fish. But Mr. Gadget says, why not a small 700 to 1,000 Honda generator charge batteries? I use that at night sometimes fishing to add as much lights or anything needed. I also use to charge for overnight trips and camo. So we actually, Skip Stewart may or may not chime in with that. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was trying to think of what I said. I seen Paula's comment down there. Skip picked up one of the generators from Harbor Freight, and we took it out, and it does do a fantastic job. The problem we was having is when you're running the charger, it interferes with all your graphs. I don't know that that's a common problem, or if anybody has a solution for that. But basically, we ran the graphs while we were trolling or dragging Hoover Reservoir up here above Columbus. And one of the issues we was having was his batteries was going dead. It turned out he had a bad battery. I think he got it. He did get it replaced, and so I think he's pretty good now. But the generator was just a great add anyway for other reasons. And but we took it up there and ran the generator. But if you ran the generator, your graph was pretty much useless. And when you're dragging, trying to stay on ledges and all that, you got to be able to see your graph. So I don't know if anybody else ran into that or has found a workaround for that, but I don't see any way to charge your batteries and use them without interference.
I would say, well, I know a couple of people that run their generators, but most of them run them on the charger for the trolling motor and not so much for the graphs, and they don't have the graphs hooked up to the same trolling motor batteries. So I don't know. I can see why they would get the interference, but the graphs, I would personally have the graphs on a separate battery, which I do on my boat.
Yeah, and I'm having that problem now. I have all my graphs on their own battery. However, that battery is connected to the same charger, so I got a 4-bank charger that's charging on the same as the trolling motor. Problem is, I get interference whenever I run my trolling motor. I get interference on my Garmin units, but not my Humminbird. And the Humminbird is mounted up front next to the trolling motor, and it's mounted. They're both mounted to the same battery, and but only the Garmin gets interference.
I have noticed that certain units handle interference a lot different. My dad has an 898 an 897 on the front of his boat whenever he does his crappie fishing, and it can't handle the interference from the trolling motor. A Lowrance in the same exact position, same exact place, will handle it a little bit better. So there are different things you can use. They have magnetic rings with, you can coil it, and there are some other stuff that you can try. There's good YouTube videos about that, about stopping interference from them. But that's coming from interference from a motor, not interference coming back from the power source. So that's a good question. I don't have an answer. That'd be a good one for one of the graph guys, I guess.
Yeah, they said
I'm just a dumb fisherman. I'm just a dumb fisherman.
Now they said they make a filter for that, but the filter that I got for that for the Garmin is on there. They actually came with a couple of noise filters, and I've got them on both units. But both units, I got 2 Garmin 93 SVs that are connected to each other. reading off of one transducer. And, once I kick the trolling motor on, they both pick up a lot of interference. The bad thing about owning Garmin right now is there's not a whole lot of YouTube information about them. There's some guys out there, and you can find some information, but you're taking just one guy's, how-to as opposed to several. You don't have a whole lot to compare it to, just what one guy tried. And so it's a little bit tougher. But let's see. Yeah, I got a Gen 2 Humminbird Helix 7 up front, and it's running off that Tarova. And I didn't even know. See, when I got that Tarova, it said it was where I got the mega down imaging or mega side imaging and all that. I won it. So I got all the bells and whistles. Yes, I won a 112 Tarova. Yeah, 36 volt. But anyway, I got all the bells and whistles with it. Well, it kicked me in the butt because you have to have a mega down imaging unit in order to pick up the images. Otherwise, it said it would only give you standard 2D sonar. Well, I just settled for that and I hooked it up, and I've been using 2D sonar while I was throwing cast net there last week. And I kept marking these big balls of shad, but I couldn't tell if it was on the left hand of the trolling motor or the right hand of the trolling motor. And I reached down and hit it, and I've got side scan. I've got side scan and down scan up front off that transducer. So I'm loving it now. Now game on.
Yeah, that's key when you're. I on the other hand, so as far as getting shad, it's actually a good topic too. My transducers on the back of my boat, I have found through trial and error that when I'm searching for shad, especially with the 2-stroke, but if I'm running my big motor, it's going to scatter them. If I go over and mark a school, they're going to be nowhere near where I just left them, or they're just going to be scarce. From now on, whenever I get to an area where I have an idea that they're going to be there, or if I want to start searching, I kill the big motor and I just start running the trolling motor. I hit the side scan, lift the big motor up so the side scan gets the full view, and I just run the trolling motor and I sit there in my chair and scan until I see the schools, and then I'll mark them and then start heading towards it, and then I just hop on the front and start throwing. A little more complicated, but I don't have a bunch of other live scope and all this other fancy units. Right. I do pretty well getting bait though, so it's it's not a problem.
Yeah, I've seen some of your bait
pictures.
Bait throw, yeah, pictures. No, you're pretty slick with the cast net. We found that out down there at the
I get bait.
Bluegrass Batch. What's that?
I said I get bait. That's one thing I don't worry about.
I tried to get bait this evening, thinking I was going out tomorrow morning, and usually when we get sunny and it warms up in the afternoon like that, the shallow bay that I put in at will load back up with decent sized shad, but it didn't happen this evening. I threw around in there for about an hour trying to get some good bait.
Do you guys have current?
Not in there.
I mean, current on your main river?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, today we probably had probably about 2 mile an hour. Which that's good. That's good for us.
That's pretty good. But that's a good amount of current.
Yeah, we had 2 mile an hour on the main river, and then I fished the Canal River, which dumps into the Ohio River, and it was probably cranking. It was probably running about 1.5 miles as well. It's usually a lot less, but it had pretty good current today. But there's a small boat ramp that has a little canal that pops you out onto the river, and it usually loads up with bait. And this morning I caught some decent bait in there. On the way back in the afternoon, it usually loads back up, but it didn't.
Sorry. My little buddy.
Yeah, Paula says the shad are all up in the creeks down there. So, yeah, I gotta go hunt for them.
We got them in slack water here. Mississippi doesn't have a whole lot of slack water. So if you could find the creeks, the Mississippi right now is kind of tough for bait. The water's so low, the creeks you can't even get inside the creeks, so the bait can't get in there. St. Genevieve Marina is so low that the tunnel that I usually get bait in throughout the year, has about 2 inches of water in it. So everything's so low right now. You have to find one of the marinas up north, or you have to find another little offset of water, because you can find them behind the eddies or behind the wing dikes. But now you're fighting all the Asian carp and a bunch of other stuff. So bait's tough for a lot of people on the Mississippi River, Missouri River, and these other places. But if you could find a creek that you could still get into that doesn't have the current on it, don't throw at the edge of the current right now, because it's full of catfish and drum. I lost a net the other day due to that. Had almost 200 little baby channel cat in there, and after about an hour of working on it, I gave up. I got as many out as I could. There was one spoonbill in there, got him out, and it was I just gave up. I couldn't get them all out. I couldn't save them all. I was tearing my net and everything. A whole 8-foot net I just threw away. Yeah. But at the edge of the current right now is all channel cats, so don't throw there. At least on the Mississippi, it is.
Mr. Gadget asked what lake are we on today. Mr. Gadget, I was fishing the Ohio River and the Kanawha River today. So the Kanawha comes out of West Virginia, dumps into the Ohio. So we were fishing that. Baby channels in a net is bad news, as Mark says, catfish and crappie. Same
yes.
Here, the bait can get up and out, but let's see what she say. Paula said, same here, the bait can get up and out, but you have to go by land to get to them. Crystal clear water in her creek right now.
Yeah, some of our creeks, they're so far out, there's no way to get in and out of them. Even with the water, the bait's not even getting in and out there now. We're running really low right now. We got some skinny water. Now, I say skinny is still, 35, 40 foot in the channels and stuff like that, but
right.
Majority of our boat ramps aren't even usable at the moment. A lot of them aren't, so it's pretty rough. I've been driving an hour to go fish further south to hit the boat ramps that I've been fishing at.
Yeah, well, especially when you can normally get to them in how much time?
Depends. If I were fishing downtown St. Louis, it would take me 20 minutes. Now I could still go over there and fish that. Was it Maple Island? Yeah. Is 25, 30 minutes from my house. So, I mean, they're still not that far. It's just when I'm, driving an hour and some change to get to a boat ramp down in Chester, Illinois, as opposed to going to Maple Island to go down around to fish the Missouri or something else, where those other boat ramps, I don't have time restraints. I don't have all these other issues, or they're not an hour away. Because, yeah, I could still, 25 minutes, I can go to Columbia Bottoms, but I'm restricted to time and location. So
how is the St. Louis area fishing? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've seen a ton of videos, a ton of guys target that area, and they seem to do well. Does that area still hold a good population of fish, or has it got enough traffic by now to where numbers are starting to be affected?
Majority of the people I know of that fish the St. Louis area, they're all catch and release guides or sport fishermen. Fortunately, but to be fair, I don't know a whole lot of people I don't know a whole lot of people that catch everything that they keep, or that keep everything that they catch.
Right.
Now, I've never fished in front of St. Louis. I've never fished that stretch. That stretch has produced a lot of 100+ pound fish. I still have not caught. I still have not fished it. I like fishing areas that people don't fish. I like fishing areas that are more going to go in line with what we fish in tournaments. A lot of tournaments I fish are Central Missouri, or further south in Southern Illinois, or down Southern Missouri on the Mississippi. Those areas are big, fast water, anywhere from 3/4 to almost a mile wide in some areas. You're talking just nothing but tons of wing dikes, random barge traffic. Now, St. Louis is a dangerous place. If you want to learn how to fish the Mississippi River, go north of St. Louis. Do not start in the St. Louis area, or go south of St. Louis. South of St. Louis is still a lot of current, but the barge traffic is minimum. compared to what it is up there. The guides to fish St. Louis. If you really want to learn how to fish St. Louis area, get with Show Me Catfishing, get with Ryan Casey, go on the boat with him and see what he does, how he interacts with the barges, the tugs. The guys all there know him, and it's a whole nother monster. It's not something to play with. If you want to learn the Mississippi, go further south or further north. Stay away from St. Louis.
Yeah, and that's why I brought that question up, is because, well, myself, I don't know anything about that area whatsoever. I know that St. Louis area holds some giant fish, but then at the same time, I've been heard you better know what you're doing down there.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I threw that out there because because I wanted to know, and I thought maybe anybody else had. Because I'll be honest, man, I'd love to try, to hit some big water, but I don't want to tackle that beast.
Come on out and stay with us. We fish the southern Mississippi River down there by Dad's house.
I would love to. So I don't see Chad. Maybe Chad's still in here, but oh yeah, well, Dee's still in here. But anyway, we've I think you heard us a little bit talking about an online, like, YouTube fishing tournament. So there's actually been a lot of that going on. There's right now called a 1-on-1 or 1 versus 1, and so this weekend is Saturday. I don't know. Skip says I'm coming too. Rusty, I'm coming too.
Absolutely, bring it.
This
Trey
Saturday,
Stroud could talk about the St. Louis area too. Trey knows very well about the St. Louis area. He's the same. Trey. Oh, okay. He's a native around here too. So.
Yeah, that's. I think even Paula Smith and I had talked about that. She was wanting to go fish out that area, and some other folks want to go fish out that area. And the common thing is, hey, you need to hook up with somebody that knows the area or knows how to work those waters, because it's not what you're used to. You can find yourself in trouble pretty quick. So, because you guys' I'll be honest, our barges down here, we can push them 3 wide, 5 deep. That's all the deeper our locks are. So that's 15 barges, and they can handle, like, how many down there?
So until they hit St. Louis, they can run as big as they want. I don't know if they legally have a size, but I've seen them. We just went by one Sunday that was 6 wide, 5 deep. So it's 6 wide, 5 long, or whatever. Yeah. So they had 30 on that one, but I've seen them up to 40. So I've seen them to where there was 2 tugs pushing them. So it gets nasty. And then on top of that, again, if you're fishing the big water like that, when the barges are going downriver, they're going to create some swells, but it's not that bad because they're going down. When they're going upriver, even when they're unloaded, they're going to push out swells to where top to bottom is going to be 10 foot or bigger. The difference. Right. I've caught more air by catching one of them. If you're going around a bend, you're coming upriver, you don't realize the barge is ahead of you. Those swells, you really don't see them that well. The water's already swirling and doing all this other nasty stuff, because that's what the Mississippi River does. And then there's a barge up around the corner, you don't see him, and all of a sudden you're going 40, 50 mile an hour, and you're sitting there looking at the sky for a second, and then pop back down. You hit that first swell. You didn't catch it, you didn't see it. So you pucker a little, you bring her down, you trim her up, and you just ride through it and start, maneuvering around until you get around them.
Yeah.
I did see somebody asked about the Ohio confluence with the Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I've never fished that specific part of the Mississippi. I do want to hit that up. I will hit it up next year. I have fished below it and above it, but never that general area. But I will be fishing that this coming year.
Paula Smith says Barge Trap, Tennessee River and Kentucky Lake are great. There's plenty of room. The Cumberland River has no room, and barges will run you over.
They absolutely will. And they do suck a lot of water in. I
I've
will
heard
be
that. I've heard they will
trying.
like pull
I
them.
will be trying to get a video set up if I can get a barge. Not many barges go up to Kaskaskia River. Kaskaskia River is a small river. They dredge it, and barges do go up and down it. It was running 0.8 mile an hour. A barge was coming up the river, and I was on the main channel side, which is the side the barge is going to come up. He was within, I'd say 20, I would say 30, 35 foot from the bank. So I was less than that from him. He was going up the river, like I said, 0.8 mile an hour current. That's it. Hardly any current at all. And as he was coming up, I went ahead and turned, pulled into the bank. And you don't tie off. You leave your big motor running. I pulled into the bank, and I'm sitting there holding the boat against the bank. As he's going, all of a sudden the current goes from 0.8 to about 8 to 10 mile an hour, or damn near. I mean, it was nasty.
Whoa!
But it was also bringing the water down, so the level was coming down. So I had to back the boat off just enough to keep the boat from going down, so I'm not sitting there dipping into the water.
Beached. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I stepped it down. I've dealt with it before, so I knew what I was doing. But anybody else in a situation like that wouldn't know what they were doing. I mean, they pull so hard. It's ridiculous, especially whenever, you know, with them being 25 foot from me, you know, it didn't bother me. I was by myself. Still didn't bother me. You know, I stepped back, did what I needed to do, and afterwards I went and collected all the Asian carp that he cut up behind the boat or behind the tug. So, I mean, it's nothing to play with. Barges are something that people on big water take for granted. You come across one. The Illinois River is not a small river, but it's not a big river. Yet it's still, if you're standing on the bank, you could walk out 3 to 4 foot down the bank whenever a barge goes by. I mean, they pull hard. When they're going upriver, they pull hard. Going downriver, they don't do it as much, but they still pull hard.
That is, yeah, I've heard stories like that before. Yeah, it may have been some from you as well, but yeah, it's completely different down here. We don't have to worry about it so much. Barge today going east on a flat front, and it made some big waves. Says Buckeye Catfishing. Hey Jim, where was you fishing at today? But I didn't catch that. Hey, Harley Neal's in the house. Hey Harley, thanks for stopping in and joining us.
Absolutely, Trey. VHF radio is a must in a barge infested area. You can listen to them chatter. You can talk to them.
Really?
Something happens, you can radio out. Absolutely. Yes. VHF should be on the boat if you're in a barge infested area. You can keep the open channel. They do actually have, not just in that area, if you're in an area with a lot of dams as well, there's channels. You can go online beforehand and have all the channels preset on your VHF for every dam, the barge traffic, emergency, everything. So you have it all locked down already, so you know as you're going through the river.
That's a so that brings up an interesting question, because I try to use an app called Find Ship, and Find Ship would have all the barges in your area, and okay, Jim, I got you. Would have all the barges in your area. It would tell you the name of the barge, captain. It would tell you which direction it's traveling, even give you the speed. And I would use that app that's called Find Ship, and fog and things like that to know, if there was anything nearby, if anything was moving, if it was, stationary. But every now and then, one just wouldn't show up at all. I would watch a barge go by me and, plain daylight, and I pulled up the app to test it. Didn't show. So do you have experience with the VHF, radios talking to any of the barge captains or talking online?
I did on my big boat. That's the only boat I own right now that's got the VHF. I did play with it. So buying that big boat was the best thing that happened to me. I did nothing but research, navigating waters with commercial crafts, with all this different stuff. I researched VHF, radars. I'm not an expert by any means on any of this stuff. Trey probably knows a million times more than I do about VHF and all that other stuff. But I did get to play with it. I did use it to communicate with the locks whenever I was locking through. instead of having to call them on the phone. If you lose signal, you have no other way to communicate with them. That VHF is always going to work. It's always going to be there. It's also good too if your boat goes, if you get stuck on something, you can wait around for a barge to go by, radio in for help. I mean, there's so many different things you could do with that VHF that you can't do with the phone when it loses signal.
That's good information to have. If you're like me and a lot of the other folks here in chat that spend a lot of time on the river, I don't know what the VHF radios run, but I can't imagine they're more valuable than your life.
Absolutely not.
Are they expensive? Just
you can get them. I think they're between $100 and $200 for your normal size. There's different classes. There's all kinds of different ways. I'm sure you can go on Amazon and get a bunch of cheap ones. You can go get a decent one for $200 or $300. It just depends on what you want. I mean, they're not. It's a VHF radio. It's an old walkie-talkie. There's no need to go get crazy with them, but buy one that's actually going to hold up a little bit. You need it to be waterproof, so it's got to be marine VHF. So you're going to spend $100, $200 for one that's going to be halfway decent and actually hold up.
I got you. Yeah, a couple guys saying the handheld ones are cheaper, and they said you can get a good handheld for about $100, $150.
Yes, but you've got to rely on a handheld being charged, where the standard one is run off your battery, which again, your battery's got to be charged. You lose your batteries, it's the same old story for everything. So
I got 7 batteries. I'm never losing juice. Ever. I'm never losing juice. Yeah, Paula makes a very, very good point here. Everyone needs to know that barges have the right of way. I know as fishermen, we're all set up. We've got 8 lines out. We're dragging. We're having a good time. The bite feels hot, and there's a barge coming. Well, guys, he's working. He doesn't give a shit about how good at fishing you're doing. He's got work to do, and you've got to get out the way. You got to get out the way now. I think Harley Neal just put a video out where they were fishing and the barge was coming, and you can hear he was saying, "Get out of the way." He laid on the horn and just let it go for just a few seconds to make sure you knew he's coming.
Oh yeah, they'll sometimes they won't hit that horn. Sometimes they'll ride right next to you.
Yeah.
You'll pucker whenever you're sitting there drifting down the river, bumping. All of a sudden, you look over and you got a barge 15 foot from your side. That's pucker factor.
It's crazy how quiet they can sneak up on you.
Oh yeah, especially coming down river because they don't take much to push them things.
Right. And I've had to. The most scared I've ever been in my life was fishing on the other side of a lock wall, and the daggone a barge had come out empty, and next thing I know, I looked over and there's a barge 15 feet over my head and probably only 25 feet away from me, and the boat starts swinging. And at that time, I was using big, surf rods, on my boat because I just got out of, pay lakes and all that, and my rod. My 11-foot surf rod was scraping down the side of a barge. Oh, it's the most scared I've ever been in my life. I ended up flooring the boat, sucking the anchor rope up in the motor, spinning me around backwards. Oh, I thought we were dead. It was bad. I learned a whole lot from that, by the way. But yeah,
you're going swimming if that happens in the Mississippi or Missouri.
Yeah.
There's an brand new Alpha Cat on there. Actually, I think there's 2 of them on the bottom of the Mississippi and the bottom of the Missouri River because of a barge or because of an anchor rope.
Man,
they're still sitting there. One of them was, I think it was his first trip out with it, and the other one, I think it was fairly new.
You suck a rope up in your prop and spin around backwards, you're done.
Yeah, as soon as you catch the rope, you might as well jump out of the water on the Mississippi and Missouri. That boat's going under. There's no doubt about it. It turns around, goes backwards, it's under. You're not getting it back, so you might as well just hop out or try to cut it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my boat, I keep a knife. We talked about this before, but I keep a knife in the very front of the boat and the very back of the boat that you can get through that. You can get through that rope pretty quick. I'm actually guilty. I run too big of an anchor rope. Thinking about it now, I've run a pretty heavy rope. But around here, I'll be honest, I'm more and more not liking to throw my anchor. I'm spot locking as much as I can.
Yes. One of my buddies that lost his boat on the Missouri River is, like I said, a brand new Alpha Cat. In the time it took for him to realize the anchor rope hit the prop, the boat was already spun and going under. He did not have time to cut it. So I've seen a couple people say cut the rope. You're talking 8-mile-an-hour current.
Yeah,
you know, you're not, the reaction time is not there. You can't get out and cut it anyways. By the time that boat spins, because that's the moment you realize you hit the prop. You hit it, oh shoot, it spins, and it's already going under. He said it was seconds. I mean, he said within 30 seconds the boat was already sitting up, and he was bailing out and getting out of there because it was done. So he was swimming to the bank by then.
I can't imagine. I've been in a couple of situations where the ropes got sucked up in the prop. And a couple things to think about is the breakaway anchors, you know, having that zip tie on there, and hopefully it'll pop and start letting you slide. Of course, you know, that's maybe it'll slide. And then also, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, in our situation, we spun around and we were sliding, but the current was so strong at that point that the water was inches from coming over the back of the boat, and we threw drift socks out to catch more current to get us pulling faster to keep that anchor skipping across the bottom. And that was actually how we kept from losing the boat. Was we threw 2 drift socks out right away and got the speed of the boat moving with the current. And otherwise, we probably lost that boy's boat.
Yeah.
Especially because both of us were in the back of the boat trying to figure out how to get the anchor out, the rope out of the prop, and he didn't have tilt or trim, so we was in a bad trouble. And then he said, "Hey, won't you take your big ass up front of the boat and get all the weight out of the back? Stop standing back here with me. Get up front." But you know, we laugh about it now and we tell these stories, but hopefully, you know, somebody else's misfortune or the story, you know, just like the boy seconds, you know, hopefully none of that happens to any of y'all. But if it does, try to think of these times and get yourself safe. You know, your boat, you buy another one or insurance, I don't know, but take care of yourself first. Man, I just realized it's 9:30.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See, I told everybody, you're not supposed to be anchored in the channel anyhow. It says Skins and Scales Fishing. Yeah, I wouldn't anchor in a channel. I wouldn't try to. Harley and I had a barge. We were anchored up, and there was a marina that apparently they used to shuttle in and out crew members off the barge. So they pulled up next to us. They dropped their little dinghy boat and went out, and we was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool." Well, the barge just swept in right in front of us on anchor and just about blew us right off anchor. We had to hurry up and move and get out of the way. It was like, dude, why did you got the dinghy boat? You could have just stayed where you were. And yeah, they didn't warn us or tell us anything. We just figured out we got to get the hell out of the way.
We anchored up behind a barge, pulled up on the bank, and had a tug pull up, started to spin around, saw we was back there. Now this is at night. He saw that we were back there, and he proceeded to pull up and sit there with the motor pushing like hell on next to the barge there, telling us we needed to get out of the way. With him doing that, it caused so much wake and everything else that it was either cut the line or sit there and try to get our anchor out. And since he was being a jerk about it, I mean, it wasn't the safest thing. We sat there and got our anchor out and made him wait on us because, you know, and all he had to do was move over some because he's using the same amount of force to sit there. He could have moved over and got out of the way and then just moved over some and let us go and let us, you know, pull the anchor up.
Yeah.
He wasn't tied to a barge. He was just in his tug, but he could have at least had the common courtesy to move out of the way and make it safe for us to get our boat unanchored to get out of his way because we were just sitting there anchored and fished. But no, I've seen some people that are pretty ignorant, running those tugs. But
Yeah.
I give a lot of them guys respect. I stay out of their way,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
yeah,
For those of us that take the time to treat them with respect and give them their space to do their job. I mean, that's like somebody coming standing in front of you while you're trying to work at work. It's going to piss you off eventually, and you put up with it for so long, you're going to take it out on somebody. Unfortunately,
yeah,
those instances, the only things we hear about, we don't hear about the rest.
yeah.
But yeah, give your captains the space and the time to do their job, and hopefully it comes back around. Not always. You got buttholes no matter what.
Yep.
I've had a tug go by and side jet us and spun us clear around. Most of them are okay, but there's a few buttholes. Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. All they had, there's nothing wrong with it. Just common decency. Just, give me the space to get out of your space, because it took us longer to get us, situated to get out of their way, when it wouldn't have taken near as long if they would have just given us a second. Just come around, you see us, just give us a second to move out of the way. We steer clear of them. If we, and we actually, if I'm throwing for bait behind barges and we see they're up there working, we go up and ask the guys, are you guys working on these barges anytime soon? We're running big motor. We're just throwing the net and getting right out of the way, but still, we want to make sure we work with them. Them guys are working, absolutely. We'll stay out of the way, but at the same time, we'll get in and out, be quick. We'll ask for permission. It's not their water, but still ask for permission. We'll make sure they're not getting in their way. Do everything the right way. I want, give them the same respect that I want to get.
Yeah. Yep. Trey throws in another great case here with another case they're having the VHF radio. If in doubt, he said, I will hail a barge on channel 16, ask if I need to move. I'll tell you what, just this conversation tonight, and even though in your guys' area you deal with a lot bigger barge, a lot bigger barge traffic and whatnot. Man, I could see several good reasons to have a VHF radio on my boat.
Yeah, there's. I'm not all for regulations, but it's a good idea to have them. I wouldn't regulate it, but it's a dang good idea to have them.
Yeah, I mean it's it's just a tool. I mean, it's if you run a flare gun or have a life jacket and anything else that you use to keep yourself safe, learning how to talk the lingo and all that. Rubber ducky, come in, pig pen. This is, I don't know what my handle will be. Barge Race 2020. Those of you who saw my last video. Yeah, but it's a good idea to have. Let's see, how y'all doing? Uncle Josh, One Ton Fishing Club, Jason Blackburn. Thanks, guys. I think Jason been in here for a while. I just hadn't hollered out to him. Looks like some folks are turning in for the night.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wondered why you didn't have one, Justin. Because Justin, I don't want you talking on the radio. It's hard to tell what. Come in, Candy Cane. Oh wait, that's a truck driver.
Rubber ducky, this big bear holler.
Yeah, there you go. Rusty, man, I've enjoyed hanging out, talking to you. This is kind of the theme of my show. Stan called it hanging out on the boat, and this is kind of how I love my shows to be. Talking about fishing, hanging out with your buddy, shooting the bull, and sharing some thoughts and ideas. So I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight. Guys, I appreciate you being here and chat and hanging out with us. I think we was up to like 50 some folks. If you didn't hit the like button, if you don't mind hitting on the way out, I'd appreciate it. And until next week, guys, keep yourself safe, keep your lines tight. We'll catch you on the next cast. We're out. Hang on, I have a way to shut this without kicking you out this time.